Are you a police officer who's feeling burned out? Are you tired of the politics of a job that you dreamed about joining when you were growing up? Are you exhausted and feeling built up tension in your everyday life? Keep watching and let me explain to you what I wish I knew when I joined the NYPD more than 25 years ago.
So that was a test question when I was in college and trying to get into medical school. Apparently the answer is spine. Did anybody get that? The rest of us, we were told to join the police academy. But just really quick about myself, right? I did retire 7 years ago. Most of my career was in special operations. I retired 84 pension checks ago. There's an asterisk next to that, and I'm gonna talk about that in a little bit. Most importantly though, I'm a father and I'm a husband. We're gonna talk a lot about that today.
Hello everyone, and thank you for the incredible work you do every day. I'm George Sichler, a retired NYPD detective with 20 years of service. In this training, I will speak about resilience and personal excellence, qualities that form the foundation of not only surviving, but thriving amidst the extraordinary challenges you face as first responders. Your commitment to service requires strength, mental fortitude, and continuous growth, and it is these very qualities that will enable you to deliver unwavering support to your communities and to each other. Together, we will explore how cultivating resilience and striving for personal excellence can elevate your performance, reduce burnout, and foster a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment.
So how did I get here? My grandparents served in World War II. They're the first couple of pictures there. My Uncle Billy is actually on the USS Missouri in the Bay of Tokyo in World War II when they signed the peace treaty. Charlie Sadler was an uncle who was killed shortly after D-Day. There's myself and my father, and then there's my kids up there at the end also. So a lot of us join the police department or the first responder community. You look for your why. And for me, right, one of the things that we look at is we have a good pension plan, we have vacation benefit, we have vacations, regular salary every couple of weeks, right? So it's a stable job. And you really have to do something very, very atrocious to get thrown off of the job. But that's why a lot of people join. I didn't join for that reason. I joined because I needed something that was bigger than I was. I needed to be part of a team, a brotherhood, something that was more than me. Kind of that bottom right picture there, I'm actually in this picture. Somebody here actually sent that to me, just a random picture at a funeral, but that defined my career for me. Standing shoulder to shoulder with everybody is what I needed day in and day out. So when I retired, a mentor said to me, when you retire, you lose one of two things, either your sense of identity or your sense of community. And if you can't replace one of those two things in retirement, you're generally not happy. So the police department was never my identity. If you're the older generation, like some of us, I was never the Andy Sipowicz. If you're the younger generation, it's the Blue Bloods character up at the top there. I never cooked breakfast with my gun belt on in the morning. It was never my identity. But what it was for me was absolutely my community. So the reason why I do the things that I do today now is because I can't go out there and effect a rescue or an arrest anymore. That's not me anymore. But what I can do is still connect with my community on a level like this. So I replaced that community that I stood shoulder to shoulder with every day with a community like this. Here's the truth behind the job. We want this job to suck.
Ask yourself right now, are you just listening or are you ready to transform yourself? Because what I'm about to share can change your life. Keep watching.
And I'm gonna prove it to you today over and over again. So we make t-shirts about it, we make challenge coins about it, we want it to suck. We want to be there at the big event, the big arrest, the big job, the big takedown, whatever it is, we want to be there. We all signed up for it, we raised our hands and said, yes, I want to be there. But what we never realized was that that job was a death by 1,000 paper cuts. It's not a matter of if you become fatigued from it day in and day out, it's just a matter of when. So death by 1,000 paper cuts, we all wanted to do it, and here we are today. I think law enforcement is the most difficult profession in the face of the world today. You can't find me one politician out there that gets elected for defunding or attacking the fire department. Police are fighting a multi-front war on a daily basis. whether it be home stress, traumatic events that they're dealing with in the streets, the toxic culture that comes with law enforcement, the first responder community, shift work, social isolation. They deal with these things day in and day out. So chaos for me was something that I needed to thrive. I was very good at controlling chaos. I wanted to be there. I could feel I could show up on the scene and control that chaos, and that's what I wanted to do every single day. What is that picture like to you guys? What does it look like? Just a mother and a kid, right? Mother and a kid at a backyard camp out, the first backyard camp out. But I'll tell you, 30 minutes before that picture was taken was absolute chaos. And I couldn't control the chaos in my own life because the only way I knew how to control chaos was either through aggressive words or through violence, right? That's how we were trained to gain compliance. And I can control that chaos and gain compliance in the outside world, but I couldn't control that chaos in my own world. So this picture, about 30 minutes before, was absolute chaos. There's a little boy who wanted to set up a tent in the backyard, and for me, there's a process, there's a procedure to do all these things, but the tent pegs are all over the place, the rain fly is somewhere, the tent stakes, the poles, everything is all over the place. And the monster in me came out because I couldn't control the chaos. So thankfully to my wife, she finally calms the situation down that evening, and she gets control over everybody and calms it down. And it's a beautiful night outside, and she says to my son, she says, "We're gonna wish upon a star tonight." And she explains the whole shooting star concept to him, and she says to him, "Well, what do you want to wish upon a star tonight?" You know what his answer was? "I don't want Daddy to yell anymore." So they couldn't control the chaos. Anybody have a significant other that ever told them this? Right? What does that mean to us? What does that mean to you? Right? We're walking on eggshells because they don't know what side of this they're going to get. We deal with this stuff day in and day out on a daily basis, and we come home and we isolate ourselves because we'd rather isolate ourselves because we can control that rather than have the monster come out, which nobody wants to deal with. We turned our communication off. The communication gets turned off, right? As first responders in here, we all operate on multiple channels, on multiple bandwidths, multiple radios. No one in here is going into a fire. No one's going here to a domestic violence dispute and turning their radio off, right? We need to be able to communicate on all these different levels. Yet, we're gonna go home and we're not gonna communicate with our significant others about what's affected us and the reason why we're behaving the way we're behaving. Anybody ever tell you that? So you're gonna go home tonight and your spouse is gonna say to you, "How are you?" What are you gonna say? What are you gonna say? Good. You're good, right? Don't we all say that? You come home from work every night and you say, "How are you?" And the response that everyone always gives, "I'm fine." But we're really not fine, okay? On the inside, we're dealing with all of those different things. On the outside, we look fine, right? We have that uniform, that shell on, but on the inside, you've got the toxic culture, the traumatic events that you saw, financial stress, let alone if you have a sick child or a sick parent or something like that. We're dealing with all those other things on the inside, but yet we're gonna come home from work today and we're gonna say everything was fine. What are we afraid of as first responders? What are we afraid of? Being vulnerable. Who said it? You're getting a raffle ticket. Right? Dave, you're getting a raffle ticket. Right? But we're afraid of being vulnerable and showing weakness. That I always felt was me. That was a picture of me. I was the knight in shining armor that rescued my wife from her life in New York City, brought her to the suburbs because that's what I would do, okay? But we would come home and say we're fine, when the reality is we're not fine, but we're afraid to show weakness. I can't tell her what I saw at work that night because the reason behind it, which I only learned a year ago, not 27 years ago, was I didn't want to induce secondary trauma upon her. So in order for me to protect her, I would come home and not say a word and perpetuate that cycle again. What do you want for dinner tonight? What do you want for dinner? Who cares? Right? Who gives a shit? Do you know why we say that? I didn't know. I never learned it in 1998. Do you know why we say that?
Make decisions all day.
All day long. I didn't know. Why didn't they tell me that? So We make decisions on, I was a third grade detective. Okay, I wasn't a supervisor, I was a third grade detective. We all in this room make decisions on a daily basis where people's lives, either they live or they could die by our decisions. Do you think I want to come home from work today and make another decision? I don't give a shit. But what does that do? Right? What does that do is it creates the friction because we're not going to induce that secondary trauma. I'm not going to tell people what's really going on. We're going to isolate ourselves at a Christmas party. You're going to isolate yourself at a birthday party, if you're even able to get the day off. I didn't learn these things. Don't talk to me, kid. You haven't been what I've been through. Anybody ever do that to a rookie? I had it done to me. Right? I remember the day it happened to me. And what I said to myself was, that's how I have to behave. Right? You haven't been here, you haven't earned the right to be with me, kid. So what did I do? Perpetuated the same thing. Do you think I ever went to that guy that said to me, hey, I got a problem with this or a problem with that? No. So we would take these rookies and say, you haven't been validated yet. You haven't been there and done this, that, or the other thing. I could have been a mentor. But what did I do to them? I shut them down. Perpetuated the cycle again. So if we talk about weakness, 25 years ago, do you think I stand up here and have this conversation with everybody? No. I'm going to tell you the truth. A year ago, I wasn't going to have this conversation with everybody. Because what are we afraid of? Showing weakness. Here's my question to you. I'm up here talking about it right now. Do I appear weak to you? No. So I want you guys to break that mindset, understand that we can have these conversations with these people that are coming up in these professions, that we raised our hand to say, yes, I will be there, I will go to that job, I will do that, knowing about the cumulative stress and the cumulative trauma, and not being able to deal with it.
Want to transform your group into resilient responders? Book me for your next event, and let's make it happen.
1013, exit 22AE, going down the expressway, Burnout Division 4 foot.
It's in regards to what?
Get some more units over there, 4 foot.
Eastbound or westbound?
Eastbound lane.
Alright, can you get units to the Grand Central, LA exit 22 eastbound, regards to 1013? I need a unit calling over this 85.
Keep the car in the 4 foot, Central. Get some units over there.
So I'm going to stop it there. I won't play the whole thing through. But for those that you don't know in the city, we use a 10 code. It's 1013. Officer needs assistance. If that happens right here, right now in this room, what is everybody in this room doing? You're running out the door. Okay, you're running out the door to whatever that guy or gal needs. What's the call for distress in the fire department? What is it? What happens when you hear a mayday? What happens when you hear a 1013? Everything stops. The world stops and we're going. I'm getting right behind you guys, running out the door. We said we would protect, at the cost of my own life, I will protect the public. What do you think I'm going to do for that guy that I stood shoulder to shoulder with? But I'm not going to ask him what's bothering him now? Because he can't show me weakness and I can't show him that I give a shit? We're all running out the door. We said I'm going to protect you, life, limb. I'll die for you. But we're not going to ask him what the problem is. So silence and isolation. Like I said earlier, you come home from work and we isolate ourselves. How many people in this room go to a dinner party, a Christmas party, a birthday party, and who do you gravitate towards? Just other cops or firemen. That's it. That's all we know. Right? They warned us about it in the academy, and you try to get away from that for a while, but you go back to it because the only people that we can trust. It's the only people that we know understand us. It's the only people that we know that have been through maybe some of the similar things that we've been through. But we'll go to a party and we'll sit off all by ourselves and isolate ourselves, even if you're able to make it. Chances are you can't make it. And what does that do? That isolates you from your family. So contagious toxicity. How long till you retire?
I can retire tomorrow.
How long till you retire? How long till you retire?
6 more.
How long till you retire?
11 years.
Everybody knows. Okay? I retired 84 pension checks ago. We count down the clock because we can't wait to get off this job. I can't wait to get off this job. When I retire, I can't wait. I'm gonna what? When did I learn that? In the academy. Right? I can't wait to get off this job. I'm gonna. Screw this job. That's a contagious toxicity. We sit there and we say 11 years, 6 years, 6 months, I could have retired. We look at it like it's a clock and we wish the lives of our families away because we can't wait to get off the job that we all raised our hands and said, I want to do this, and then you can't wait to get off it. That's the contagious toxicity that permeates all of these cultures. So exposure to trauma. The civilian population may experience 2 to 3 traumatic incidents in their lifetime. Law enforcement, first responders, EMS, 175. There's people in this room right now that had traumatic incident last night. Okay? We're going to experience 175 of these traumatic incidents in the course of our career. Raise your hands. How many people in here are prior military? Raise your hand. Keep them up. How many people in here were either EMS or a firefighter before you got on the job? Keep your hands up. All right? You can put them down. Don't raise your hands for this. Don't raise your hands. How many people in here had a traumatic childhood growing up? Okay? Your trauma clock started ticking long before you got on this job. How do I go to a civilian therapist who maybe experienced 2 traumatic incidents in their life, has no idea what we do for a living, they have no cultural competence, and I'm expected now to trust them when chances are they were probably doing some protest organization against the police 6 months ago at their college? How do I trust them? And the cycle continues. That's why peer support groups are so important, right? You're talking to another first responder or a nurse or a firefighter. That's why these things are so important. We are trained to recognize signs of distress in the public. As first responders, I know when somebody's having a problem. What does that teach me? How I can hide it. Okay? So if I know what it looks like, I know how to hide it. Think about you're going to some we'll call it an EDP, is tearing apart a gas station pump, and here you got to go down there, and then you're talking to your partner or your back, whatever, this crazy guy again, and his life is out of control. But in the reality is, that's how you feel, that your life is out of control. Okay? And there we are saying, this EDP, this crazy person, his life is so out of control. I'm telling you right now, there are people in this room that feel that way. There are people, you're sitting next to somebody that says, my life is out of control, I know how to get it under control, and I'm going to hide it from everybody. Because we're afraid to ask them how they're doing. Possible signs of anxiety, poor sleep. Yes, check. Appearing disconnected. Yes, check. Go through them, right? This is what affects us all the time. Hypervigilance. Am I the only one that goes to a restaurant and sits with my back against the wall so I can watch the door? Am I the only one? Am I the only one that walks into a gas station or a supermarket and looks at the cash register to see if they're being robbed? Am I the only one? No one in this room experiences that, right? But that's the hypervigilance. We can't turn it off. How do I turn my brain off? I can't. I keep going through these things. We all keep going through these things over and over and over again. When society encourages people to defy the police's job becomes even more difficult.
Two confrontations from this past weekend, one in Brooklyn, the other in Harlem, both showing NYPD officers having water thrown at and poured on them.
Does anybody else's blood boil? I'm retired 7 years and I see that my blood boils. Raise your, is your blood boil? My blood boils. We don't see that. You can't treat the police like that. In a regular society, this doesn't happen. What does that cause for us? It's a moral injury. This is what it's a betrayal of our core values. You can't treat the police like that. Yet they do, and they get away with it. Put another check mark on the box for us. Failure to be protected by our leaders. Anybody ever experienced that one before? That's a moral injury. All these stressful trauma things, they're cumulative for all of us. Who is more afraid of getting jammed up than killed in the line of duty? Anybody? I sure was. Have the helicopter fly down Fifth Avenue past St. Patrick's Cathedral, tell my wife I died with my boots on, but don't have some protest organization show up at the bottom of my driveway protesting my kids as they go to school. It's a moral injury. Every day. Moral injury. Parole and cop killers. We see it all the time. Moral injury. I know people in this room have been to these before, right? DWI, the mother walks away in handcuffs, her 8-year-old is dead. Moral injury. This shouldn't happen in a real society. But everybody in this room experiences this in some way, shape, or form. Police, fire, EMS, nursing, whoever it is dealing with this. It's a moral injury. Defund the police. We need more funding. We need more training. We need more equipment. What about bail reform? Why are we even doing this? Moral injury. The air at Ground Zero is safe. Moral injury. This is our friend. He died a week ago from 9/11 cancer. It's still to this day moral injury. 9/11 was 24 years ago, and we're still dealing with moral injuries from it because we were told the air is safe. People in this room were standing shoulder to shoulder with me. I know they were. Compassion fatigue. Anybody have that? I sure do. No emotions. Completely emotionless. Uniform goes on, emotions go off. I'll give you a story. So, my son, my wife, they joined the local fire department. I end up joining as well. And we go to an emotionally disturbed female at a drug rehab center. And the woman, they had to take the door. She's in the corner screaming. Nobody's even near her. So I'm done. I'm like, just rip her off the floor, throw her on the stretcher, and let's get her out of here. Let's move on. But the way the woman was screaming and crying, with whatever animals did to her long before that day, she didn't need me that night. She needed somebody that had compassion. She needed me years before that animal was doing something to her. That's when I could have made a difference. But I was so burnt out and no emotion that it's just another one. Rip her off the floor, throw her on the stretcher, let's get out of here. Cumulative trauma and stress, we talked about that. Irregular work hours, overtime, it's Christmas time. How many overtime shifts are you gonna pick up? All of them. All of them, okay? Keep it on top of it. Disruptive sleep becomes normal, shift work. All of these things add to the amount of stress that we take home on a daily basis. So we put all of these things together. The bail reform, right? We take the bail reform, we carry that one with us forever. Then we'll take the little girl who's getting run over by the DWI person, right? Carry that one around forever. Well, let's pick up all the shift work and the overtime holidays. How long am I gonna carry this shit around with me for? This is what we're doing every single day. Every single day, this is what we're carrying with us, and more and more and more. You know what we need sometimes? You know what we need sometimes? Somebody say, how you doing? Say, how am I doing? Right. I'm not good, man. Last night sucked. You know the little girl that got run over? We've been to 10 of those before, but I don't know what the problem was. I just had enough last night. And we have to be able to unburden ourselves from these things. But this is what we're carrying around with us because we don't have somebody that'll come up to us and say, how you doing? Law enforcement, EMS, firefighters, people in this room, right? They're all very, very dangerous. We spend as much tactical training as we can get, as much fire training as we can get. When the reality of our job is dangerous as it is, the statistics don't lie. It is more dangerous for you to be at home, in your house, by yourself, than it is for you to experience a line of duty death. It's more dangerous in your house, no matter where you work, Chicago, LA, New York, Miami, it's more dangerous in your house based on suicide statistics. That doesn't even account for the retirees, not even accounted for. All across the board, for decades in a row. A staggering 90% of police officers surveyed say that stigma is a barrier to mental health. You want me to prove it to you? September 12, 2001. People in this room right now with me, standing shoulder to shoulder with me, roll call. September 12, 2001. The training officer comes downstairs and says, who wants to go see the department psychologist? What do you think our answer was? Get out. Get out and don't ever come back here again. Why? Because I couldn't tell the people next to us. Nobody could show a little chink in that armor. Isn't that ridiculous? 24 years later, we look back at that and we say, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. But it's true. Because we can't show weakness to another guy or gal that we're standing shoulder to shoulder with. Anybody ever drive home from work and got your butt kicked so bad that you don't even turn the radio on in the car? I know people in this room have done that, for sure. But we have to prepare them for what we're bringing home with us. If we don't, it's not fair to them, and we perpetuate the cycle. I want everybody to take their phone out. Take a picture of that screen. That's the Guardian Revival talk line. You're gonna call that phone number. You can talk about how bad the job was, how bad the weather is, how much you can't stand your sister-in-law, and I'm gonna tell you, people in this room are gonna answer that phone. I'm gonna tell you right now, people are gonna call that phone number today. Every time I do one of these talks, their talk line goes up. It's free, it's confidential, they don't ask your name, and you know what happens sometimes? Somebody calls that phone number, and they hang up. And you know what they do sometimes? They call the number back if it appears. You know what the person on the other end of the phone says? I didn't even know what to say. Keep it in your phone for you. I send it to people all the time. I talked to a friend that I worked with last week. He was having a crappy week. I sent him the phone number. Call. People in this room right now, you're sitting next to people in this room that are experiencing that, they're gonna call that phone number today.
The American bison is the only animal that turns into the storm. While other creatures flee, seeking shelter, the bison faces it head on, pushing forward with unshakable resolve. It does not avoid the storm, nor does it fear it, because it knows that by charging through, the storm will pass more quickly. First responders and veterans are the bison of our world. When disaster strikes and chaos erupts, when others run for cover, these heroes turn toward the danger. Firefighters sprint into burning buildings. Police officers rush toward the sound of gunfire. EMTs push through devastation to save lives. They don't hesitate because they understand that surviving the storm means meeting it head on. Few are built for these conditions. The first responder carries the weight of trauma, of tragedy, of moments that would break most people. But like the bison, they are shaped by hardship, by the relentless winners of their profession. They are the descendants of those who have faced the worst and stood unbroken. Be like the bison. Don't run from your storm, whatever it may be. Face it with the courage of those who stand in the fire, who walk into the darkness so others can find light. The storm will not last forever. If you ever hear that whisper of doubt in your mind telling you that you cannot withstand the storm, take a deep breath, square your shoulders, and answer back, I am the storm.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here.
If you find value in what I share today, please hit the like button and subscribe for more content dedicated to your growth and resilience.